How do you achieve your life's goals? How do you do that? How do you basically be able to achieve whatever you've wanted to do in your life? And how do you do it efficiently while making sure that you follow up with these goals and make sure you basically attend to them? Well, I'm basically going to break that down in today's Minecraft Yap episode. Basically, there's two things to it. There's the actual, goal itself that, you want to achieve. And then there's the, you know, how you actually do it and like the day-to-day uh, accomplishments, like how are you going to actually go about achieving this goal. Now, for the actual goal itself, usually you want to follow this the SMART goal. So basically what that means is it's specific, measurable, time-bound, and relevant. Those are the things that make up a good goal. So, for example, one of my goals was to basically build my dream game. So there's this game I'm doing. I got to obviously do a lot of programming for it. And so that was my goal, is to basically finish this game, which I know it doesn't seem very measurable, but I did, plan out all the features. I planned out, like, literally all of the files, everything I need to do. So it's not, like, the most specific thing in the world. But obviously it's, like, to the point where if I break it down, I really can make it measurable, and that's more the, like, day-to-day thing. So, like, how can you take this goal and break it down into, like, a day-to-day task? For example, I broke that down into making or writing one line of code per day. So every day I will write a line of code, and then I will also commit it to GitHub, which is like this tool that I use to basically upload everything to the web. Yeah, I'm sorry, this might be a bit loud. Oh, I didn't have music on. Anyways, so the point being that in order to make these goals, sure, you don't have to be the most specific thing, but what you do have to be specific on is like the day-to-day tasks. So, for example, again, I talked about the coding thing. I will write literally just one line of code. And in order to like make this into a habit, you also have to have something that you're able to like measure how many days you do it. So for my coding one line of code per day, I actually made a... Where did my boat go? Basically, I have a whiteboard, and every day I'll write down, one tally mark on that whiteboard in order to keep track and see how many days that I've done this thing in a row. Here it is. So that's what I've tracked it. But also, I've specifically picked one line of code, because realistically, I'm not going to get there writing one line of code per day. Like, that would literally make me take years to do it. But the reason I've done it in the way where I've broken it down into one line of code per day is to make it easier to, like, get started. So it makes it super easy, because, like, if I have to write one line of code, like, that's easy. That would take me, like, less than, like, 2 seconds. But by doing that, by literally just getting started, I've created this easy way to get into a habit, And by doing that, eventually over time, hopefully by completing this thing daily, I will be able to have created my own, like habit of working on this goal. So that no matter what, I will eventually do it, eventually complete it. Also, I've made it more of a daily thing, because by doing it daily, like, that's just how habits kind of work, Most of your habits are more daily, they're not like weekly or monthly. And sure, you could do that, but realistically, you're probably not going to do it that way. And by making it one line of code per day, I can focus on other things. So if one of my days is like super busy, that day I'd be able to work on other things, while still, like, if I'm just not even going to be, in town or whatever, I'm on a trip and something like that, I can still, pull up my laptop, write one line of code, literally just write like a comment in the code, not even like actual code, and that would still technically count because, I opened up Visual Studio and wrote that line of code. So that's more of like the day-to-day thing. Now this can apply to a whole bunch of different things. So for example, obviously coding is not the best example probably, but I guess working out always seems to be one of those things that everyone, wants to do, and it's always like one of their goals, but we never seem to complete them because we always seem to, stop here and there and be like, oh, that's a lot of work. The problem is, like, the hardest part about getting one of these goals done is, like, actually getting started. So you literally just pull out, like, a sheet of paper, or you have a whiteboard, literally just, like, write down your goals and figure out, how can I make this more of a SMART goal? How can I... Basically, what you want to do is you want to take this big, broad goal that you have in mind and break it down into something that can be completed in 2 seconds. Which, sounds unrealistic for a lot of things, but, I mean, if you really think about it, you probably can. So, I guess an example, back to the, working out example, if you want to do that, it could literally just be, go to the gym. That's pretty simple. Like, you don't even have to work out for the day. So, when I go with friends to go play basketball, that's what I'll consider, working out, because I did go to the rec, so I'm still kind of... or the recreational center that we call it anyways. That is still, building that habit because I'm actually going to the place. And it could be even simpler than that. It could be like putting on your running shoes. Like if you put your running shoes on for the day, that completes the task, But obviously if you put down the running shoes, you might as well go running at that point. So it really is just to break down the goals into something that, seems so easy that it's like, why would you not, do that? And eventually you'll build up this condition to be able to repeat it. Where did all the Endermen go? Hello? This is like their home. Anyways, besides the, working out thing, there's also, for me, I do, YouTube videos and that sort of thing. My goal was, I mean, really just to make, like, the best video possible, which, I think a lot of people try to do that when they comes to YouTube. Anyways, I'm getting off track. The main point of that is, in the YouTube sense, there's so many different tasks you could do. So, like, there's recording, editing, scripting, all these different things. So it's, like, really hard to break it down into a small task. So the way that I've gone about it is basically just record for a day and then, upload that recording. So it's kind of what I've been doing on this channel and whatnot. And it's also just a great way to track progress and that sort of thing. Also, sure, there's like editing and that sort of thing. So why are these guys over here? Back here. Yes. So, obviously you can break that down into a lot more different things, but I've specifically chosen, the recording path because, like, that is the simplest, one thing that I can do that would allow me to be able to complete my goals. And eventually, what I've started to do is if a task is, like, too complicated, where there's, like, lots of different steps that could possibly be involved, what I have done is actually made it so that later on, I will add on to this task, basically, by adding, other steps to it. Okay, please don't fall. Sorry, this is really annoying. Let me turn that down. music. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about, you know, life goals, because eventually just by doing this thing, I know I keep probably repeating myself, but, you know, if you literally just pull out a piece of paper, write down what the goal is, and then kind of break it down into a daily task, and then find a way to track it, like, I guess there's probably a simpler way of going about this, but get a piece of paper, write down your goals, figure out like a way of how you can break it into the smallest task possible that can be completed in like 2 seconds, and then just, you know, start, you know, writing a tally every single day you complete it. You know, it's almost like you're in prison or something, but you know, you gotta track the days that you've been there. And anyways, 10 ender pearls. Let's probably get 2 more at least, and then I think we'll probably head to the end. Also, I haven't quite figured out what I'm gonna do in this world, because I want to have a big goal, you know, or like, you know, what I'm gonna accomplish in the world. So probably something really big, obviously. But again, I'm already playing Minecraft for like 20 minutes every day, so if I literally just do that, it's like we're on day 6 now. I don't know if that lines up correctly with the rest of it. It should, to be honest. But other than that, yeah, that is all I really have to say about, you know, goal setting. I feel like there's a lot of other, you know, weird advice out there. Or not really weird, but just there's tons of advice out there on like how to get like the best, or like how to have like a good routine and accomplish all your, you know, life's goals. But in reality, I mean, what I've just said is kind of the most basic thing that I think anyone can do. And by doing that, you would just accomplish your goals, you know, like, it's not really complicated, although obviously there's some like advanced techniques if you want to like focus in the flow state or whatever that a lot of things will do, or a lot of channels I know talk about. But in reality, you don't need to watch all of them. You just kind of need the basics of creating the goal and breaking it down into, you know, one task. Dude, I feel like something, you know, like epic is about to happen, but I'm just gonna drink some water to this music. Wow, epic music drinking. Where is my portal? Actually, would I have a map? I think it's all the way like back here. I'm gonna start heading that way, I believe. Yes. I think I made a tunnel somewhere around here. Or I could go that way. Kind of take the long route. We do kind of still need pearls, so that kind of works. Why are there piglins in this biome? Thought they didn't spawn here. Thought I was supposed to be safe. Yeah, I'm not going that way. Oh, there's my tunnel. It's the tunnel, like, up here. See, I think I've talked about, like, all my goals. Obviously I've got the, you know, lifting type deal. Meant to hit you, but whatever. And then okay, my tunnel is somewhere Wait, it goes all the way... Go down the music and now it's just awkward. Wait, but then I go over here and it's like back this way. What? Yeah. Oh, I think it might be like out here potentially. No? Or what? Um, I guess I could just literally walk this way till I eventually get back to my portal. Okay, this is completely the wrong way though. I need to go. Dude, I need to find that tunnel. I guess I could just dig. Is it this way? Yeah, it's this way. But I need to go like way further. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say about goals, you know. Obviously you could time it around like yearly and whatnot. Or like monthly, that sort of thing. And, you know, sometimes that works for people, you know, due dates is another thing that can work. That's pretty common amongst, I guess, life goal advice. The other thing I was going to say was, you know, obviously SMART goals, there's also the relevant part of this thing. So my goals is obviously, you know, I think a lot of people, they can follow along with this. Okay, wait, my tunnel's back this way. One block here. Dude, it's gotta be around here somewhere. Oh, I found it. Yo. Anyway, so obviously I think if you honestly you don't even know like what your goals are, I think a lot of people would agree that the like best goal is to be something that is I think this is called like swabby or something. And what that means is that the goal is it's not really a goal. I think it's called it's used more in business for like how to come up with a business idea. First of all, it's something that the world needs, something that you can be paid for. Oh my goodness. Chill, guys, please. So it's something that you can be paid for, something that the world needs, something that you're good at, and something that you also enjoy doing. So if you can kind of put all those things into one. So for example, um, obviously not everything has to fall into all this because it's just your goals. So like working out obviously for me doesn't apply to all of these things, but something like YouTube does because I feel like I'm not like the best at it, but obviously I'm, you know, like getting there and stuff, you know. Try to improve something every day, you know, as they say. And so what I'll do is obviously I can get paid for it. Measurable, it's not as necessarily measurable, but what I've found the best is just to, you know, upload once every once in a while, you know. Or for me, it's daily now. Let's see, how do I... Is it really all the way over there? Bruh. So anyways, that's my rambling on goals for today. If you liked what I had to say, you know, uh, wait, wait, wait. Consider watching this other video. Bye.